Hello, and thank you for joining me for Made in Texas. Today I'm hosted by Kayla Belmore, senior producer at the Frisco-based Gearbox Entertainment. Kayla, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you so much for coming.
So I got a chance to play Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and absolutely loved it. I'm a sportster. Can you tell me a bit about how Tiny Tina's came about?
Sure, first of all, so glad you enjoyed the game. Always like hearing what people's builds are and the fact that they're enjoying it and having fun. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands came about because there's always been this drive at Gearbox to make a fantasy looter shooter type game. And we got a little bit of taste of it when we made Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep. And we were finally in a position to be able to actually make a whole game come to life. And that became Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
So the writing is hilarious, and you have such a great cast of characters. Can you tell me a little bit more about how the storyboarding and the overall creation of the game went?
For the writing, it was so important for us to nail that experience of playing a tabletop RPG game with your friends. We developed Wonderlands mostly during the pandemic, and all of us were feeling a little bit alone at that time and missing that feeling, and that definitely came through as we were writing the game and learning how to work together from afar. So a lot of those quips you hear from the two table characters besides you, Fret and Valentine, as well as Tina, are all meant to evoke that feeling even if you're playing the game alone, and then you get even more of that if you're playing the game with your friends.
So there's tons of that tabletop gaming DNA as well as the Borderlands DNA. What were some of the must-haves from kind of both of these type of games that you felt had to be included?
So we really wanted to make sure we stayed true to our core. Lots of enemies, lots of loot, expand your repertoire, and get to try out different things and constantly be upgrading. But what we wanted to incorporate from the tabletop gaming realm and the RPG realm is a little bit of that self-expression. The fact that you can create a character was something that was very near and dear to our hearts, that you could choose your character's background and that affected your stats, and even building your own stats to further refine the expression of your own build. So not even just how the player character looked, but how the player character feels should be something that is defined by the player. And that's one of the biggest things we wanted to take away from RPG gaming style elements. And of course, the beautiful fantasy setting is something that we took right out of those fantasy worlds. We liked to keep it grounded with some core creatures like goblins and dragons, and that had a few little bit crazier ones like land sharks.
Nice. Can you tell me about how you got started in game development?
Sure. I actually started a long time ago at Irrational Games working on BioShock Infinite as a personal assistant. And I took the opportunity to learn from my boss, the director of product development, and really get a chance to understand what production was. Then I worked at a small indie company, working both my admin role and a little bit more of production. I just continued that trajectory, moving on to Gearbox Software from there, the big move from Massachusetts all the way down to Texas just to work for Gearbox. Because I loved the games, I loved the franchises, and I had a few friends that worked here that said it was absolutely a spectacular place to be.
That's such a great space.
I absolutely love working in this space. We have a huge kitchen with a gigantic snack area, a little something for everyone there, a coffee machine on every floor because you know game devs need coffee. And of course there's our beautiful grand staircase and giant sculptures from the games that we've worked on in the past, which are always a great reminder and a little morale boost. We also have an amazing tabletop gaming room, a sweet arcade that we have poker players and pool shooters at. And it's just a really fun, creative atmosphere. There's a lot of concept art on the walls from past titles, from current titles. Also, it's the kind of place where they let you keep a Nerf blaster in your office. So I know this for a fact.
Y'all have got it all. All right, is there anything you can tell us about the future for Tiny Tina or for Gearbox?
Gosh, I would love to. We are so excited to be working on so many things. Unfortunately, I can't tell you anything right now. But for anyone who's curious, our fans, yourself, you can follow us on all of our Gearbox official socials and get the latest and greatest news.
Great, thank you. And Kayla, thank you so much for hosting us here today. This was great.
Thank you so much for coming by. We loved having you. I'm almost always a sport warden main though because I love that mushroom.
He's so cute.